As the tensions between the US and Iran are rising, neighboring countries are preparing for the possibility of a full-scale war between the United States and Iran. Regional officials estimate that within a week of any major military confrontation, between 3 to 5 million Iranians could be forced to flee their homes. Most of these refugees are expected to head toward Turkey, viewing it as a gateway to safety and a possible route to Europe. EU countries have already received more than 2 million Syrian refugees. Arriving 2 million or more Iranian refugees would be catastrophic for the EU countries. In response to this potential crisis, Turkey has begun extensive preparations along its border with Iran. The government is developing contingency plans to prevent a mass influx of refugees, including creating buffer zones inside Iranian territory if Iran's government collapses. Turkish authorities aim to contain any large-scale migration on the Iranian side of the border. Turkey's concerns are shaped by past experience. The 2003 invasion of Iraq and the prolonged Syrian civil war resulted in millions of refugees entering Turkish territory, placing heavy pressure on public services, employment, energy supplies, and social cohesion. At one point, Turkey hosted nearly 3 million Syrian refugees, leaving long-lasting economic and political effects. As a result, Turkish society remains sensitive to large-scale migration. Officials have made it clear that Turkey will no longer maintain an open-door policy in the event of another regional crisis, even though Iranian citizens currently enjoy visa-free travel, and since the past couple of months thousands of Iranians have moved to Turkey. Ankara has significantly strengthened security along its 560-kilometer frontier with Iran. The border is now protected by advanced surveillance systems, including more than 200 electro-optical towers, dozens of elevator-equipped observation posts, hundreds of kilometers of concrete walls, and extensive defensive trenches. The area is monitored around the clock using drones, reconnaissance aircraft, and other technological systems. One factor complicating the situation is the presence of at least 12 million Azerbaijani Turks living in Iran. Their cultural and ethnic ties to Turkey could generate internal pressure if large numbers attempt to cross the border. How the Turkish government would respond to such a scenario remains uncertain. Turkish officials have emphasized their opposition to foreign military intervention in Iran. Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan has publicly urged the United States to pursue diplomatic solutions rather than military action, warning that further destabilization would have severe consequences for the entire region. Meanwhile, the United States has increased its military presence in the Persian Gulf. Warplanes, missile defense systems, and naval vessels have been deployed to the Middle East. In addition, the USS Abraham Lincoln Aircraft Carrier Strike Group has arrived in the region on Monday, signaling heightened readiness. Although President Donald Trump has expressed openness to negotiations, reports suggest that Washington continues to consider targeted strikes against senior Iranian officials and regime change. Such actions could rapidly escalate tensions into a broader conflict. Iranian officials have repeatedly warned that if they are attacked by the U.S., they would target all the American bases in the Middle East. The region now stands at a critical moment. Any military escalation between the United States and Iran could trigger one of the largest refugee movements in modern history. While Turkey is reinforcing its borders and preparing emergency measures, these actions reflect deep concerns about the humanitarian, economic, and political consequences of another major conflict. Ultimately, the situation highlights the fragile balance between security and human rights in times of crisis.